All righty. Can everyone hear me okay? We'd like to welcome everybody to the Riverton State Office Building Task Force meeting. We anticipate this will probably be the concluding meeting of the task force as we wind up a few things and prepare to go look at the building later this afternoon. So I'd like to welcome everybody here. Appreciate the effort you made to get here. A lot of agency input, and appreciate you being here. So with that in mind, Heather or Holly, if you could do a roll call and we'll get started.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Senator Cooper.
Is joining by Zoom, I believe, and if he's not there yet, that's excuse him until he does.
Senator Dockstetter.
Here.
Representative Gugamas.
Here.
Representative Posey. Mr. McComey.
Here.
Mr. Maury.
Here. He is, I believe, going to join by Zoom as well, and if he's not here.
Ms. Neely. Mr. Moffett.
Here.
Mr. Walduck.
Here.
Co-Chairman Case.
Present.
Chairman Larson.
Present, and it looks like we got Christy Gordy online from Department of Family Services, and Jack's up there, so I think we're good. So, all right, we wasn't quite sure on DFS this morning. Director Schmidt said to make sure and have Jen Neely was going to be here, so she's here for comments. But and I'm getting that confirmation from Miss Gordy as well. So okay. There are no minutes of the last meeting. That was last year, and those have been approved and posted. So I think, Mr. Chairman, if from the legislative side, I'm the only remaining the residual member of the original task force, and would like to welcome the new members, Mr. Co-Chairman and Senator Dockstetter, Representative Posey, and Representative Gugamas for accepting the assignment to be here. And if I thought maybe I'd just kind of give a little perspective before we start in this. And so in preparing for today's meeting of the Riverton Task Force, Riverton Office Building Task Force, I want to review some of the history and the background of the task force to help us keep focused on today's work. The task force, which includes 3 senators, 3 representatives, Department of Construction, Department of A&I, and representatives from the state agencies located in Riverton, was created in 2023 with assignments to identify the number of state agencies located in Riverton and determine if the public and the state would benefit from their consolidation into a single building, to determine if there is an existing building available for purchase that would accommodate the consolidation of agencies, similar to the effort that we made in Casper with the Thyra Thompson building. If a building wasn't available, then to determine if an appropriate parcel of land might be available to build upon. These assignments were completed, and the task force made the following recommendations to the State Building Commission: to purchase the Glenn L. Larson building, also referred to the U.S. Energy building, with its associated lands and vacant lands across the street, across from Sunset. The State Building Commission approved the purchase of the building and associated lands in 2024 for, I think, $1.99 million. We always just say $2 million. This building has 2 floors with approximately 11,000 square feet of office space on each floor and underground parking space, also with 11,000 square feet of space. At the time of the purchase, the state was already leasing space in the building for the Department of Health, Department of Family Services, Driver's License Division of WYDOT, and the Department of Agriculture. The State Building Commission also approved the purchase of the vacant land across the street, which was purchased in 2025 to allow WYDOT an area to do their testing for CDL testing or whatever other purpose we might feel in the future. The task force Also recommended that the building be refurbished to accommodate additional agencies and to contract with the design firm to do a level 2 and level 3 study to determine what level of renovation would be required and how best to add the Department of Workforce Services, the Veterans Affairs, and Department of Revenue into the building along with the agencies already there. The State Building Commission approved the funding for the site and building work, and the State Construction Department secured Prospect and Anderson Mason Dell Architects to do the level 2 and level 3 work. So committee, really the intent of today's meeting is to review the space allocation of the level 2 design and verify the agencies impacted or satisfied. We'll go tour the building and see where the work will be done and to, again, get an idea of the space allocation. Before we go over to the building, we're going to consider Draft Bill 26 LSO 84, which would move the end date for the task force from June 30, 2028 to June 30th, 2026. We've done all that we needed. We've done all that we needed to do. It's our assigned tasks have been completed. The remaining work falls under the jurisdiction of the State Construction Department and Department of A&I. If the task force approves that bill today, then JEC will consider sponsoring it for introduction in their committee meeting, I believe, tomorrow. And then the only remaining thing is, and I think Ms. Scott has completed our annual report to JEC that is due by November 1st. So, Mr. Chairman, that's kind of where the lay of the land at this point. Any comments that you'd like to make before we dive into our agenda?
I don't.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to point out that this whole thing was off the rails until the Senate and with our new House members to put it together, and you'll be able to complete it today.
You can hardly, well, I'm sure you could feel the relief, the sense of relief when you all showed up here today, and the security we feel is, all we can say is thank you. We are glad. We really are glad you're here, and before we get started, I'd just like to extend also to the task force members, particularly those of the agencies that participated in this. Thank you. It took some time, and it took some work to get this done, and we appreciate your input, and we think that the end product's a good one, and look forward to seeing what will take place. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to dive in, and we'll turn the time over to Mr. Webb and to start us off on the status of the level 2 design and to work us into the space allocation. And I believe if we have not received the handout packets for the committee, yes, Polly, if we could get those out to the members of the task force, because we'll be reviewing those documents. Dave, Jake, if you want to go ahead and get started, we'll turn the time over to you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dave Webb, State Construction Department Construction Management Supervisor. With me, I have Mr. Jake Strickling.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. Jake Strickling, the construction manager for the Wyoming Department of A&I.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be going over the statutory requirement that we have for level 1, level 2. We follow Wyoming Statute 9-5-108. Level 1 is reconnaissance. And in reconnaissance, what we did was we described the project and we identified the need. That was completed a while ago. Level 2 is feasibility. In the feasibility study, we identified the interest, and then we have a draft conceptual design. We are currently in that draft review, and should be completed within the next month or so.
So, Mr. Webb, if I may, could you just walk us through as you was preparing for this level 2 design and the space allocation? Remind us, there was some interaction with the agencies that would come into that space. And Jake, you want to take that question and just help the public and the members that are here understand that process and what took place?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. What started about a year ago, when we hired Prospect Design Studios, who you'll see here shortly, explain their process and where we're at now. But they started the level 1 pretty close to a year ago, where they started breaking down the existing building and studying all the structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing components of the building, to basically understand exactly what we have, or what we have in the existing building. That is the whole level 1. With the reconnaissance study is basically a breakdown of what can be used, what needs to be replaced, what's still good, what can be modified, that sort of thing. So that's all the data collection that they do during the level 1 study.
No, I think Jake Moore, I was referring to your conversation. We understand that in level 1, but then as you started looking at space allocation, that wasn't something you determined on your own. You reached out to the agencies to determine what they needed. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. When we started the level 2, we each started meeting with all the individual agencies to determine what their space allocation needs were going to be and what their space allocation wants were going to be. And then once they have all that put together, then they basically took the 10 pounds of cheese and tried to fit it into a 5-pound sack. So they had to kind of rework a few things here and there to make sure that every agency was happy and got what they needed to operate in the existing building. And that also included bringing 4 agencies from outside in lease space and bringing them into this building also.
And so that's really what we're going to focus on today. And we just as well have our prospect design folks come up as well and join in, like you guys to stay there. But I think unless there's questions from the committee, I think that we ought to just move into this space allocation and walk us through the handouts that you've provided and kind of share with this committee how you are the information contained in this 21 pages of the drawings.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Just
Dave.
an add-on to what my counterpart was saying is that we met with the agencies multiple times to make sure we got exactly what they needed for this facility.
There was a little back and forth, I believe.
I think what 6 or 8 times we met with the agencies to solidify this floor plan.
Mr. Chairman, that was also as a group and individually.
Right. Thank you. So, Dave, I'm going to, as we go through the design document, I'm going to give you freedom to interject your thoughts on this, but if our prospect design team could introduce themselves, and then let's just start going through the document and share with us how you came, just show us how we've got everybody fit into the building.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just pull that, it's mobile, it won't break. You can just get as friendly with
No
it as you
problem.
want. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the task force. I'm Danny Wick, one of the principals at Prospect Studio.
I'm John Graham with Anderson Mason Dale Architects. Good morning.
And I'm Becca Wiggs, project architect at Prospect Studio.
Becca?
So we can just move through the documents if you'd like. So I think to start, on page 3. I think it might be a double-sided document. So if you have a single, on the first page, we're going to be looking at the first three pages look at what the existing building is and the demolition of those. So you'll see the existing drawing, and then the subsequent page will show what we'd be demoing, removing from the building, and what's going to remain. So in this first sheet, you'll see this is the subsurface level, so the garage level of the building, and what's currently existing there. And if you flip the page, anything that is dashed represents the areas and portions of the building that will be removed. Our intent is to keep as much of the building as we can, knowing that there are some pieces and parts that, as you can see in the subsequent existing plan, this building was originally the U.S. Energy's headquarters. And so there were components and elements in this building that served their need that really aren't applicable to the new use of the building. As an example, on the lower level, there was a set of locker rooms and a fitness facility and sauna. Some of those elements will be removed as they're not really applicable to the current program.
The U.S. Energy building was a pretty executive office space. Would that be a fair?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it was. Specifically on the upper floor, where the rooms were set up to handle, I think, their C-suite executives. As we move to the 5th page, you can see this was the existing plan of the first floor. I think there's a couple of elements that are worth noting here. The building was segmented pretty substantially. At the current time, there was a series of rented spaces or leased spaces in the building. And upon sort of the first review, one of the things that came out of this is that the egress does not work in this lower level. We don't meet current codes, how it's currently set up. So that was one of the reasons that we needed to revisit the layout of this floor, and also to try to economize the level so we could fit more people in here.
And excuse me, and so that was mainly, as I recall, based on the ADA requirements. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's a portion of it. Also, just from a pure life safety standpoint. As an example, if you look to the left side of this page, there's a long corridor that ends in a private office. That would be considered a dead-end corridor. We need to be able to have 2 means of egress out of the building. So trying to solve some of those circulation requirements from a life safety standpoint was is also as important as the ADA accessibility. I think the other thing that's worth noting, which you will see when we do the site visit, is that the existing stair in the entry when you come in also does not meet code requirements from a egress standpoint. It's an open stair, it's not enclosed, and the current stair configuration does not meet the requirements of life safety. So these were elements we were looking at as we were approaching the building. You can see on the next page, page 6, that a substantial portion of the first floor will be demoed. What's nice about this building is it's quite an open footprint. There is a CMU core in the middle that represents the current.
CMU.
Yes, the CMU is a block, just a concrete block.
Okay.
That's where the current bathrooms live and provide shear for the floor. But for the most part, the rest of the floor is just infilled framing, which allows us to remove a lot of those infills without really damaging the structure at all. And then we can come back with that infill to appropriately scale and size the rooms as needed for the program. In page 7, you'll see that this is the upper level floor, and what you can see as the existing floor is that most of the offices were pushed around the perimeter of the building, and then there's quite a lot of open space in the middle of the building as well. The rooms as we had discussed, the offices were for more executive level people, and they're quite large. So one of the purposes of revisiting this upper floor was to try to also economize this, because we have quite a bit of program.
So if I may interject, you Fremont County guys will look in the lower left-hand side, Jack 220, that was Jack Larson's room. Then above him's Mike Sweeler's office. Then you come Max Evans' office, which was then turned into Scott Lormer's office. This is a fun document, a lot of history for those of us that knew the company that was there. It's pretty fun. Continue. I digress, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, it's good. It's good color. So one of the other elements that I think I failed to mention when we were going through this was that also in part of the preliminary review of the building, there were a few things that came to our attention as we analyzed. So the first thing we did was to evaluate the existing structure and services in the building to ensure we knew what we were dealing with and whether there was any upgrades or requirements that were needed. Several things did come out of that. Most of the utilities in this building are quite dated. For example, the electrical system is in place, but you're no longer able to get parts and pieces for it. So the maintenance of that long term, we're going to need to upgrade those facilities as well as the boiler and the mechanical systems. So those were things we noticed. Additionally to that, the elevator was quite old and also in a place of sort of status that wasn't able to be repaired. And one challenge that we were faced with is that this is quite a small elevator. So for current needs and requirements, we were going to need to expand that elevator shaft. So that gave us a little bit of the workings of not only what we were trying to solve from a program standpoint as it relates to fitting all the agencies in the building, but also what we needed to do to ensure that this is a long-term and viable asset for the state. So the next section you can see on page 10, this was the preliminary concept design. We've been talking predominantly about the building, but what we also were looking at was the exterior parking and the accessibility to the building. As when we go to visit, what you'll see is there's a two-tiered parking area. The drainage is quite bad, and it's in not great shape in terms of the paving. So solving the stormwater issues on site was one driving force, and then also positioning the parking lot in a way where we could maximize the number of spaces, but also provide an opportunity for, as you can see in this document, where the building is only a portion of the site. There's quite a large bit of the site on the south end. And one of the original briefs was trying to look at this from a master planning standpoint to ensure that anything we were doing in this first phase could set up a viable campus for the state long term. So by taking the parking out from just the front of the building, it allows us to create a pedestrian access to that southern portion of the site. I think the other really notable thing here is currently the state vehicles are parked within the same parking as the public. And so what you'll see here is we actually separated this on the left coming off of North 8th Street. You can see that there is a turn-in, which is where the current primary turn-in is. This would actually access a secured parking area only for state vehicles. It's also the access route to get down to the garage. So you would go through a state-controlled parking area in order to access the lower garage. We think that provides more security. We removed the second access from the garage below because we aren't trying to park cars down there. We're really only using it for the state engineer and maintenance and storage for the agencies in the building. So by removing one of those, it does allow us also to better use the lower level garage area for the mechanical systems. And then you can see we have the primary access for the pedestrian or the public coming off of West Sunset. And then this would be the access into the parking area. So it separates those two things. And then we believe that it creates a great access both from a pedestrian standpoint and the opportunity for a future road to come down to the lower south end of the site. So for future development for state needs. And on the next page, you'll see that this is some of our precedent studies in looking at this. So another element we are trying to solve here, as I said, is there's quite a circuitous and tight ramp that gets you to the main building now. So by replacing the parking here, we were able to reduce the amount of elevation going up to the building. We do have a long ramp, which is this diagonal element that comes up to the front, but there's a much more direct route from the parking area. So we were trying to solve for the multi-level condition that we are also seeing on the parking right now. Page 12 shows a small axonometric view of what the building is going to be. This front element is an addition that we've added onto the building. You'll see in the new plans. The reason for doing this is this allows us to rebuild that exit stair that we need in the front and also reposition the elevator so that we could build a new modern elevator. It also provides a kind of a front porch to the building and a more sort of gracious entry. When you go there now, you enter the front building and there is you come onto a landing and it's like a 7-foot ceiling. So this has a portion of double height space. It connects the second and first floor, and really we think provides more of an entry sequence that you would expect in a state facility such as this. So this concept imagery on this bottom is really just us starting to think about how to link this together and to provide some screening and connectivity for the building. On page 14, you'll see that these started to be the concepts design and plans for the new layout of the building. This is the subgrade plan. So in the parking current garage area, we are basically using this area for storage, both for the grounds team, the state engineer's office, and then a series of the agencies that will be supplied above or that will be housed above, as well as the services for the building. Additionally, we're going to be providing mechanical systems. Currently, there's a chiller that lives in the front lawn, and this would allow us to bring that closer to the building, reduce the length of those runs, and provide a more accessible unit for maintenance, etc. As well, the other thing down here that is we are also providing is this one spot for DFS in the event that they need to bring someone and have straight access and not walk them through the parking lot. This will allow them to be able to pull a car in and go straight to the elevator and then take someone to the upper level.
So if I may interject there, in looking to Jen, but of the agencies, DFS is one that has off time is required to come at all hours of the day, and off times would have to have access in night and come in at weird hours, and this added a level of security for those employees. Have I got that accurate, Jim?
Mr. Chairman, that's accurate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing I should say that it does not show up on this plan, but the stair on this south side of the building would communicate all the way down to the subfloor, so that would be an access for us as well. So that's just a drawing error on our side, but those stairs would continue all the way down.
Also, if I may, for the members here today, if you look at this bottom, you'll see an SEO on motorized storage. As we looked at the agencies in Riverton, the one agency that we didn't move into the building was the state engineer's office. They had, we run out of room, and their office space was okay, but they have some storage needs. They're a regional facility, and some of the motorized vehicles and testing equipment that they use up in the Bighorn Basin and other parts of the area are stored here in the winter. They have a small storage building that they make repairs in and store that was problematic, and so we've are designing into this lower area some space that they can keep their motorized vehicles in the winter, their side-by-sides, the boat, and some other things. So that's why you'll see that agency on the lower floor, but no other place. There may be a time in the future on this campus that we talked about this with the state building commission on even building some storage area for each of the agencies that is outside of this building. That will be a conversation in the future, but for right now, this is how we take care of the state engineer's needs, as well as the other agencies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's accurate. Moving on to page 15, which you'll see is this is the concept design for the lower floor. As you can see, if we start on the south of the page and then move into the building, there is a airlock and entry where the elevator and you can see the new stair would be built. There's also the possibility and an allocation for a security desk, depending on how the building is staffed and run long term. But you can see we have 3 agencies on the lower floor with some shared space. So one of the things we were trying to do in the layout of this building was to provide some spaces that could overlap between the agencies so that we didn't have redundant program, because as we found once we did the programming assessment, the needs of some of the agencies were a little bit larger than the allowed footprint. So we were trying to consolidate some of that through shared uses. So you can see the Department of Workforce Services is on the left side of the building. They occupy the primary share of the lower floor. We provided new restrooms, so the current restroom facilities are not ADA accessible. So we're providing new ADA accessible restrooms on both levels. So the yellow represents the shared elements. The purple represents workforce services, and then blue represents YDOT. And the yellow spaces or the white spaces are circulation and or we're sort of using that central space as kind of a lobby space for each floor.
So if I may interject then a little bit for my legislative colleagues, if Workforce Services is currently occupying 2 spaces in the community, one a lease space where they do voc rehab. And the reason that's a separate space is because the state-owned office space where the other part of Workforce Services is located isn't ADA approved. And so they have a lease space of voc rehab. And so there's a bifurcation of the agency that was a challenge. This brings the whole agency into this level of the building. And then off to the right where you see YDOT, that's our driver's license administration. They're currently there. We reconfigure that a little bit. And then if you're familiar with Riverton, the Department of Revenue has this office kind of in the hinterlands here. And it's isolated and a little concerning. We're glad that we're able to bring them into this consolidation. Senator Dockstetter.
Mr. Chairman, Workforce Services then, I take it for Fremont County is more like a regional approach as far as rehabilitation, training, all of that, because a lot of the offices I've seen are just simply a little office.
So in Fremont County, you have, yes, and you're right. And then we have Workforce Services also in an office in Lander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will say that both the layout and development of these were in close collaboration with the agencies. So how you, for instance, enter into the resource center and then have a closed off access to the offices beyond were all things discussed through those agency meetings to make sure that this was going to operate the way that as best as they saw fit for what they wanted to do in the space. Same goes for the revenue offices. You can see there's a small vault in the corner, and that way for night drops, they could drop directly into the vault. So all of those types of elements were things that we were discussing with the agencies and went into this sort of preliminary layout. As we obviously move into the level 3 work, we'll be developing this in more detail with them. But all of this was informed through multiple meetings to ensure that we weren't saying, oh, it fits. And then they said, but this doesn't work how we needed to at all. So there was quite a lot of collaboration with them on that front. As in another example, the 2 shared conference rooms, there's a removable partition between them because Workforce Services is many times we need a larger space to do like a job fair type of situation or have a speaker. And so they asked that we could combine those 2 so that they could have one larger space when they needed that. If there's no questions on this floor, I'm happy to move to the other one.
So maybe what we'll do is I'd like to get, if we've got some agency input as we've gone through that, we just want to make sure that the agencies don't leave this meeting saying, geez, that ain't what we agreed upon. And we had some other thoughts here. And so I'd like to reach out if we've got Workforce Services here on this floor. Does this is in who, Jason, are you online with us? So I'm going to pick on our local, if he's not, I'm going to pick on our local Workforce Service person. Is there anything that runs afoul of your understanding on this, or does this fit how, come on up. and we're all friends. So you, I'm putting you on the spot, but I just would like to make sure that we're not missing something, or that you have angst over something on these drawings that we would then have these guys go back and rectify. But in your conversations, does this fit the intent of consolidating your agency into the building?
Representative Larson, my name is Deanna Crofts. I'm the manager for the Riverton Workforce Center. Jason Wolf, our deputy director, was the designee to talk. I have been involved in some of these discussions. So I would have to defer.
So let's do this. This will be a little assignment. If you just reach out to Jason and have him make sure and get back with Dave and Jake.
Absolutely.
And just confirm, I'm confident that we've done this, that we've responded appropriately, but just wanted to make sure the agencies had a chance to opine on the space allocation. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Mrs. Cross, for being
Thank you
here.
for the
Okay.
opportunity.
We have Department of Revenue here. Okay, and how about Department of Health? Oh,
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf is now online.
good morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning, Representative. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Thank you. Chairman Larson, Jason Wolf, Deputy Director for Department of Workforce Services. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand earlier, but thank you for letting me in. And thanks to our Workforce Center Manager, Deanna, there for pitching in. I would just say, we've done a lot of discussion with the architect team and internally. I think on level 3, there will certainly be maybe some opportunity for some rearrangement as we've discussed internally, but I don't think anything too major. So I think that's kind of the extent of our comments basically on the office space, but and would stand for any questions, Representative.
Questions for Deputy Director Wolf from anyone? Jason, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone?
Mr. Chairman, we have
Director
Karen
Fanning?
Realm.
Is it Director Fanning that's with us?
Sharon Reen from the Department of Revenue.
Sharon, thank you. Can you hear us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
We can now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes, we were able to contribute to the decision-making with that office as well. We were very happy with it.
Any questions for Sharon? Sharon, thank you. We're really happy to get that that space moved over from where you're at. I know it served you reasonably well, but it's just isolated, and we're really happy to have it consolidated in this. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was nice to have that safety there, because it's nice to be in a building with others on there.
Thank you. Then we've got the Department of Health. I don't know, Tina, Nate, Nate's our physical facility guy. I don't know if it's him or Tina that's going to comment on that space.
Mr. Chairman, we have Tina
Perfect.
Kearney.
That's who we wanted.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if it would make sense for us to move to the next page as they're on the second floor.
Oh, well, I apologize. No, you're right. So time out. I misspoke. I'm colorblind. Not really. I'm just claiming that as my excuse. It's YDOT. We need our YDOT guy who's here with us, who drove up and being this and that's where we do that. So thank you for catching that.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you, Representative Larson. Taylor Rossetti, Deputy Director for YDOT. The department did work very closely, as you guys mentioned in the process, We're pleased with how everything turned out, and we do believe that that'll meet our needs in the current configuration, and we'll continue to work through phase 3.
Thank you. And then just while we got you, Taylor, we've got that property across the highway then that you guys have access to develop into your CDL driver training as well. Is that correct?
Representative Larson, yes, we do believe that's correct. We'll probably do some motorcycle testing there as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And currently, maybe I could just ask, currently you just kind of beg, borrow, and steal around Riverton to space to do that in, or?
Representative Larson, the motorcycle testing is actually done in the current lot here at the current building that they're in now. And the CDL testing is done out at the fairgrounds. It works well, but it's not optimal in the winter. It's still a dirt lot, so that poses some problems during the winter. Having a paved lot close to the location would be beneficial to everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, how about we go upstairs?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
I should also just mention that relative to the CDL, the motorcycle testing, that was one focus also with the revised parking, was to try to, with the state acquiring the land to the north, we knew that could be a future place to do that. As it's a little, as you'll see today, it's a little confusing when you pull into the parking lot on whether you can drive where the testing is or park in that zone. So separating those two functions seem to be a benefit to the public. So if we move to page 16, you can see the upper floor. You'll see on the starting on the south end, you'll have this access of the stair or the elevator. The stair on this end will be the primary stair for the public. The stair on the north side of the building will be used for egress purposes and also for the different agencies to be able to move up and down. But we'd like to try to focus the public on this south aspect of the building.
So to review once again, and members of the committee, when you go over there and you see the existing stairs, they're very 1980s-ish, and they're an open stair, very open stair, and we're saying that's not code compliance for what we're doing, and that's why it's driving some of this change.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's correct. Now, on the north side of the building, we are maintaining the existing stair because that does meet current code requirements. So again, in the effort of not rebuilding something that's not necessary, that stair will remain in place, and we will just, cosmetically upgrade that a little bit. It's only the stair on the south side at the entry that is the one that's non-compliant. So you can see on this level, again, you move up elevator in the same location, you can see that there's some space open to below from the upper level down to the entry on the first floor. The stair provides access up to this upper level. Again, we're employing a similar strategy as that we have on the lower floor, where we have this lobby space in the central component of the building. You'll see up there in the second level, so the first floor is quite a bit different in terms of the quality of space than the second floor. The first floor is a fairly compressed ceiling, pretty utilitarian. The upper floor is a vaulted space, quite nice. In order to do a lot, we're a lot more concentrated with the amount of space that we're occupying on the upper floor. So we're thinking in this sort of lobby space, this is where we're going to be able to leave the ceiling open and really be able to get the full kind of effect of what is there currently. As you see, when you go today, you'll understand that. But from an architectural standpoint, that is one expression we're trying to maintain in the building because it's there and it's beautiful. So on the left-hand side of this, you can see that this is the Department of Family Services. Again, yellow represents the shared amenities on this upper floor. Gray represents service spaces. There's a military office, the agricultural office, and then the Department of Health. Again, these were laid out closely in correlation with the agencies to try to make sure we're meeting their needs. Just like we've talked about with the lower floor, we'll be revisiting all of those discussions with them as we move through the level 3 process in order to ensure that as the details start to come into focus, that we're making sure that we're still meeting the expectation and needs of the agencies. There is a small copy and print room on each level. There's a break room here. And then again, we've provided new unisex restrooms that are ADA compliant on the upper floor.
And I believe one of the concerns that the agencies on the upper floor have is there's a component of drug testing or other type of testing that required that to be outside the, that's why you see some additional restrooms there. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the restroom that's being provided inside of the Department of Health is specifically for some of their needs and was requested by them. There are also several restrooms that happened inside the Department of Family Services and also a shower component. This is related to the work that they're doing, and they wanted to have more of a private facility that they could control a little better.
Okay, questions on this before we go to agencies? Now let's go to the Department of Health. Tina, is she?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can't see you, but we can hear you. Your thoughts, please? There you are. We can see you too.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, the space sufficiently meets our needs. So, we are really pleased with what we have, and no further comment.
Thank you. Any questions for Tina? Okay, thanks, Tina. Appreciate you spending time with us this morning. Let's go to the military office. Military department, no one. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, no one else online.
Okay. And then we've got the Department of Agriculture, I believe. And no comments there.
Really chatty today.
We are. I would just share again, I would just share with the committee, those of you who knew, we have had lots of chattiness. We spent a lot of time with the agencies getting this ironed out, and just wanted to just reaffirm that. So I'm not really surprised that they're not there. The military department has an office downtown right now, and they'll be getting rid of, and Department of Ag was already in the building. They're down on the first floor. DFS, Mrs. Neely, we're always glad to have you in our presence.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having us. I do have two questions, but this might be a level 3 question. So Mr. Chairman, I'll ask them and then maybe get some clarification. At one point, we had discussed the conference room number 312 becoming an interior space, and that would enable 2 of those interior offices to be exterior spaces or exterior facing spaces with windows. Is this sounding familiar?
Mr. Chairman, I could address that if that's all right.
Okay.
I think we did discuss that. I think one of the other discussions, then I think the reason we left it in place, which we'd be happy to re-review this in level 3 with you, is having 2 doors to that conference room allows you to have one access from behind your secured door, but then it also provides the opportunity for someone to come in, i.e. another agency, because this was originally a shared conference room, and so we converted that to a primarily DFS use, and by moving that internally, it would have made that not possible. So I think we left it for that, but we are happy to re-review that with you when we get into level 3.
Thank you Mr. Chairman. Thank you for answering and clarifying. I think then my second question is also going to be a level 3 discussion. So thank you.
Absolutely.
No other questions or comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Please, Dave.
if you can remember the last time we went through with the agencies on the conference room, it was Director Schmidt that made that comment of leaving that conference room on the exterior and having the 2 doors. That way they could, if they had to, that'd lock that one door that's outside of their agency, and they could use that for their.
Yeah, my memory of that conversation is we hit the ball back and forth across the net 2 or 3 times in that discussion, and it ended up there. Not more of a, as prospect noted, more as practicality than desire.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If we look at the next page, page 17, these are elevations of the building. You can see that there is, if we are just starting at the top and working our way down on the left-hand side, this shows the existing elevation, and then the red represents what will be removed. And then the lowest elevation represents what the final elevation would look like. The reason for these drawings, which are a bit more minutiae, is that we, just like the mechanical systems, this building was built, quite a long time ago. And so the window systems and envelope is quite old. So we think it would be prudent to upgrade those to a more current and energy efficient envelope. So it costs less to operate the building. So this is replacing the windows on the exterior of the building.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing I might mention on this elevation, on the right-hand side shows the eastern portion, but what's worth noting is that you can see on the upper roof, there is kind of a funny triangular shape. The building was originally built, I believe this was included originally, but this is a small mechanical penthouse that houses some mechanical units on the upper floor. It's nearly impossible to access. And it also is a leaking point for the building. So in our reevaluating the mechanical systems, we have come up with a way to move that down into the lower level so that we don't have those mechanical systems that are hard to access and maintain. And then we're also able to remove that area and then re-roof it so it's a more conventional roof. We think that's a much better solution long term. And if you look at the last page, this just represents, again, additional elevations, both the north and west side, showing more or less the same thing. We're also proposing to remove many of the skylights that are on the upper floor. And the reason for that is in order to make these spaces efficient and to move the mechanical around in an efficient way, predominantly above the office spaces, we'll have a lower ceiling, a drop ceiling in place. And so those skylights are also a leaking point and don't really make a lot of sense if we're going to have a ceiling in. So we propose removing those and getting this to a roof that's really pretty simple. We think that's from a long-term standpoint, a much more viable option.
Okay. I think the rest is just those following 2 pages are just a little bit of history, nothing more.
Yes,
Any cleanup there that you want to?
As far as the proposed schedule?
No, just on the space allocation. Any cleanup comments you'd like to make that?
I think we've what you're seeing represents where we think the best plan has been. I can just say that there have been several test fits of this building. We've done this 7 or 8, 10 different ways to try to figure out how to make all of this work. So we feel like we've really put the work in to find the most effective and efficient layout for the building, and feel confident that having gone through this several times, that we think we're meeting as much of the needs as we can for all the agencies and squeezing all the blood out of the proverbial turnip at this building.
Good. Jake, you and Dave, any concluding comments before we go to questions?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'd like to also mention that as we wrap up level 2 and move into level 3, that we do have a construction manager at risk already. We have a few of their representatives here today. We've hired FCI constructors out of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we have John Flanagan, Brooks Paskett, and Jake Schmidt here with us today, and they'll be joining us on the tour. So
Perfect. Appreciate that. Dave, you're welcome to sing or.
Mr. Chairman, I think we've whipped this horse enough. Mr. Chairman, I think we've whipped this horse enough, and now it's time to put this to bed and start on construction documents.
I would agree. So just to tie the knot around this package, there were 2 agencies that we considered moving in the building, and just space-wise and practicality-wise that we did not. One is Department of Criminal Investigation, which is under the Attorney General's jurisdiction. Matt's been on this task force, and they have a space that's isolated out by the airport. There's some space requirements and some confidentiality and access requirements that really is necessary for DCI in where they're located, that we could have fit into this building, but it would have taken a lot of space to get it done. It wasn't efficient, and they like where they're at, and so that worked well. Have I got that right, Matt? And then we have parole that's on a building, in a building down on Monroe. That's under Department of Corrections. It's practical that when we move workforce services into this building and vacate the state-owned building that they have, that we can then move Department of Parole into that building and have them, and not have that building be sitting idle. And so that fits well. We could have moved them in to this building, but it would have made it difficult to bring the bifurcated workforce services in. So that's why they were left out and use that space. So with that, committee members, any questions or comments? Senator Dockstader.
Very general statement, all of you at the table, whoever chooses to answer. We have a building that takes us decades into the future, correct?
Yes, Senator, we believe so.
Till next spring.
I think next spring's on the agenda too.
Okay. Thank you. With that, and isn't this exciting to be this far ahead of schedule, Mr. Chairman? I think
That's definitely the experience of the Senate, and it's probably new to you guys.
I felt the pressure as soon as they walked in to get this thing done. And so thank you for the incentive. Polly and Heather, I think that has us up through the 10:20, because we've taken public comments. I might just open this up, Mr. Chairman, for any other public comments on the space allocation that might be there. Folks at the table, thank you. You can go back and take your chairs. Is there any other public comment on this space allocation? Okay. I'd like to also recognize Russ Noel and Andrew here with A&I. This is going to be their building. The fortunate thing is now with Thyra Thompson building, they've kind of got an understanding on how to do the maintenance and security remotely. They have for a long time, but really appreciate the Department of A&I's help on getting this task force and this stuff put together. Appreciate that very much. Any comments, public comments? Andrew, please.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm Andrew Coleman with the Department of A&I General Services Division. I also just wanted to acknowledge Rick Jude from our Casper, from the Thyra Thompson building, who's the building manager over there, is here in the audience as well, and he'll join us on the tour as well. And he's helping us to be a really close point of contact with the contracted building manager here in Riverton.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Heather, we can move on, right? Or do we have any public comment online?
Mr. Chairman, there's no one online.
So I think members of the task force, we're at our 11 o'clock. This really is exciting to be this far ahead. To have our 11 o'clock, and this is Bill Draft 26 LSO 84, which should be in your handouts. The intent of this bill, and we'll have Polly take us through the bill, but the intent of this bill is this task force was created with the intention that it exists through June of 2028. This would end the task force earlier at the end of June of 2026. There was an allocation of $50,000 originally for the task force members. There's a current balance of $42,382. And by the time we get today's expenses out of it, they estimate there would be around $38,000 then that we would revert into Department of Construction for the renovation effort. So that's the intent of that. And Polly, if you would take us through the bill then and
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. And I will point out that there are copies on the back table if anybody would like a copy. The bill is very straightforward. Starts out on page 2, changing the date that the task force will terminate to March 1st of 2026. Then also changes the effective date of the task force from June 30th of 2028, which is the current date that the actually in section G, we're talking about the $50,000 appropriation that from the general fund that was given to the task force for legislative travel and expenses, and that would be for the period of through June 30th of 2028, and the bill is changing that to June 30th of 2026. At the end of that subparagraph, subsection G, it states that the money remaining from that appropriation would be reappropriated to the State Construction Department for purposes of the Riverton State Office Building Renovation Project. I will note that we are estimating that approximately $38,000 will be left of that reappropriation after this meeting. And then section 2 of the bill really just makes this effective immediately. And that is the bill, Mr. Chairman.
And I'd like to correct a statement that I made earlier, because I think I said that it would end the task force June 30th, 2026. The task force would end March 1st of 2026. And it's the money that would, in the traditional reversion process, would then revert at the end of June in 2026. Do I have that correct, Polly?
Correct.
Any questions from the task force? I might just also, so this is a task force made up of legislators and of agencies. And so as such, we all get to vote on this bill, but this task force can't sponsor a bill because we're made up of executive branch agencies as well. So the bill, as we pass it, then will be moved on to the Appropriations Committee, as I mentioned in my opening comments, has agreed to consider this bill in their as something that they would sponsor. So that's how it would move through the process. So any motions on the bill?
Some.
And seconded. So it's been moved by Chairman Case and seconded by Representative Gugamos. Any, I don't think we need to do a page-by-page turn on it. Are there any proposed amendments or?
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Good. On the March 1st date, this legislature is still in session, so I guess kind of my question is, as the bill's working through, the bill would have a March 1st, but depending on how the session goes, would that coincide with that timing of that, or should that date maybe be changed to the conclusion of the session?
We had that conversation in the drafting process, and I was assured that we'd be okay, but Polly, do you have any thoughts on that?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that the bill is effective immediately, so that would be when this bill comes into effect. So it would be, it would work fine. It would be after that March 1st date, obviously.
Mr. Chairman?
Well, it could work if the governor signed the bill before March 1st, but he may not. I mean, things could be jammed up.
Should we do March 30th?
How about April 1st? That's kind of a good day.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, sure.
Would you second?
Second.
We have a motion to change the termination date from March 1st to April 1st.
Question.
Those in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, if any. Okay. Any other proposed changes?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Could we maybe get that 38,000 and have a party or something?
We could. It'll be held at Department of Construction. We'll call it a renovation party.
I have nothing further. Anybody else? Question?
Okay. Very good. Roll call.
This is a roll call for 26 LSO 84 Riverton State Office Building Task Force Sunset as amended. Senator Cooper.
Aye.
Senator Dockstetter.
Aye.
Representative Gugamas.
Aye.
Representative Posey.
Aye.
Mr. McComey.
Aye.
Mr. Maury.
Aye.
Ms. Gordy.
Aye.
Mr. Moffett. Mr. Waldock.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Case.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Larson.
Aye.
11 aye.
Thank you, task force members, and adieu. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I think this moves us in to lunch. And I think what I would like to do with your blessing on this is take a break and meet over at the office building at 10:15. That gives us enough time to get coffee and make the journey over there. And so I think we could get hold of our folks and forewarn them that we're on our way, and we'll meet over there at 10:15. Okay? Thank you.
Any particular local?
We can just meet in that front foyer there. Yeah, that front lobby. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Which side of the building?
That main entrance coming in.
South side. Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Are we adjourning?
About to make a motion when you're ready.
I was hoping you would. Yes.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So moved, and then we'll leave for the members of the task force and those asked to join us. We'll meet over there at 10:15. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.